In today's video, we're going to show you how to install the best budget-friendly lights on your F30 and F31. Hey, this is Bryan. Thanks for watching Kies Motorsports. If you like our videos, give us a thumbs up, make sure to subscribe, and check us out at KiesMotorsports.com. Today in the house, we have Kerry Getz.
Yeah,
Kerry, thanks for joining us today with your F31 328. So what are we doing to the car today?
We just swapped out the stock headlights that are really, really ugly and put these beautiful halos in.
Look how nice they look.
I've had the car for about a year now, and it was missing something, and it was missing these. So I'm super pumped. They're very affordable, unlike the BMW ones. For around 600 bucks, you can go from this to that.
Now, as many of you know, to do an actual OEM upgrade, it's about 2,500 bucks or more, depending on which ones you want. So, by far the most budget-friendly, best-looking lights, dollar for dollar. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna walk you through the process step by step on how we installed these. Now to do this installation, you will need to get the car a little bit off the ground. We're going to use a lift, mainly for video purposes. This is completely doable with a jack and jack stands, but with that, let's pop the hood, get the car a little bit off the ground, and we'll take off the wheels. All right, we've got our Kies protective socket, so we're not gonna scratch up his nice wheels here. Pull one of these out. And then make sure you use one of these little hangers here if you don't have a wheel stud conversion, so you don't mess up your nice wheels. Now what you're going to need is an 8mm. We're going to remove some of the fender liner to make it a lot easier. So there's one here, 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 two up top, and one in the back. So with that, just remove all the 8mm. All right, so once you've done that, we're gonna remove this fender liner. Just be really careful. It's gonna pop off just like that. Now, this car didn't have one, but there is typically an 8mm right there that holds your air duct in. This one, it looks like just the tab broke off over time. So be sure to remove this one, otherwise it's gonna fight you a little bit. And then put this out of the way. Off camera, I'm just gonna head over and do the exact same thing on the other side. Now, as you can see, Kerry's car does not have parking sensors. That's those little circles that you see. There's about 4 in the front bumper. And he doesn't have headlight washers either. So if you have PDC, there's a little connection under here. You just need to disconnect that. And if you have headlight washers, there's another connection around this area. It actually attaches to the headlight. You need to disconnect that and catch the excess windshield washer fluid that's going to drip down. So now that we have the fender liners out, what we're going to do, I'm going to detach the bumper from the fender. So if you look in here, there's 2 more 8mm. We're gonna remove those. All right, so what you wanna do now, you wanna just pull this down and get it loose. You don't have to do anything too crazy. If you are dealing with a wrapped car, make sure that the wrap isn't sticking to the headlight. We have a little bit of that going on here. It normally happens if the bumper wasn't removed when they wrap the car. So just something to be careful of if you have a wrapped car. All right, now I'm gonna go do the exact same thing on the other side. All right, so now what you're going to do is you are going to remove all of these 8mm screws that are holding the bottom of the bumper to the protective plastics. Now, if you have an aftermarket lip or something like that, as you can see, Kerry has a little splitter here, you might need to remove some different size. Like it looks like I have a 10mm over here and same over there. But for the most part, if your car is stock, just remove all the 8mm and then you should be good. So now that we know that the bottom and the sides are free, we're going to work on the top and then we're going to carefully remove the bumper. Next, what you need to do is remove weather stripping. It's just going to be a piece of weather stripping that sits across the top here. And then there's a T25 over here, T25 over here, and then there are 6 T30s that hold it in the middle. Then make sure you bend the ends out and you can carefully pull the bumper off. Now at this point, it's a good idea to mark where your factory headlights sit. So the top sits roughly there. Doesn't have to be perfect, but this way at least you have an understanding of where it was, and the bottom lines up with the top of that. Okay, and then also you want to take note of these gaps. So like this is really tight right now. Sometimes you're going to have to do a little adjustment to make sure that everything is fitting properly. So it's not as easy as just take it off, put the new one on. There normally is a little bit of tweaking that needs to occur to make sure that everything is sitting right. Okay, so now what you're going to do, you're going to reach up here, and there's a 10 mil, and then after this there's going to be a couple T30. So once I remove this one, what I'm going to do is I'm going to disconnect the plug. And a good idea at this point too is always to test your lights. You can even do this before you get this far. If you want to just pull off this, and then you can put it out the wheel well, hook up your light, make sure everything functions properly. So that's what that looks like. Okay, you can just squeeze and squeeze, wiggle that off, looks just like that. And then you're going to have a T30 up top. This car doesn't have it, but a lot of cars will have a T30 that goes in there. And then there's a T30 that goes in here. And then there's another T30 that goes in here, kind of by your little ambient temperature sensor. Take your T30, we're gonna do this one first. Now the nuts are enclosed in these little metal brackets. It's a square nut. So what I like to do is I like to push it in. Most of the time, you can get it to twist. Sometimes like this one, even with me pushing it, it doesn't like it. So you're gonna have to use some kind of needle nose channel locks to lock it in. So you can squeeze this down so that thing doesn't spin. And then we're going to do the exact same thing on the other one. Now just preventatively, I'm just gonna put my needle nose channel locks on now. And of course, that's the one I didn't need to do it on. This one spins a lot better. There's the other. And then just make sure that there's no other points where your other wire harnesses are connected. Looks like there's just the one spot there. And your headlight's just gonna pop right out just like that. All right, so at this time, we've already tested the lights so we know that they work. We're going to start installing them. If you haven't done so already, make sure that you have your bulbs in. The main bulbs are H7, so there's one over here, and then the other one is over here for the high beam. So with that, let's plug them in and throw the bolts in. I'm gonna put the 10 mil in just to give this light a little bit more support. Okay, so now I'm gonna make sure that I try to align that the best I can while I thread these in to make sure everything's going to sit properly. All right, so I'm just snugging up that 10 mil. All right, that looks really nice. So now what we're gonna do, this car was missing a little bracket right here, and to make it sit properly, we really wanna have that bracket. So we're just gonna go borrow it from another car we have, my silver car that you haven't seen in a long time. So that way everything on Carrie's car is sitting nice. So we're gonna take a quick break, go grab that, and then we'll be back. All right, so Zach just went outside and we borrowed this off of one of our other cars. We're gonna tighten this up here. It's a T30. This is gonna make sure everything is held nice and in place. Now when you're tightening the bottom bolts, there's an expanding contraption. I don't really know what it's called, I guess a nut. What we have found is you wanna make sure that you have it out pretty far, or what's gonna happen if you have it too far in is your lights are going to be pointed a little bit down. One thing that's a little bit screwy with this is it's a reverse thread, so it's lefty-tighty, righty-loosey. All right, so I have these hand tight pretty much where I want them. Everything else is snugged up. Everything is lined up with where I last left it. What we're gonna do now, I'll plug in our connection here. If you're wondering what this bulb is, it was the old daytime running light. You can take it out and we'll probably put a little bag over this and then just zip tie it. So I'm just gonna do it now so he doesn't have a random bulb in his bumper. All right, so now that I removed the bulb, I don't want any water to get in here. So I have this really technical piece of automotive equipment called a glove. We're just gonna put this on here, bend it over there, make sure all the fingers are out of the way. And I'm just gonna zip tie this up so that way there's no moisture getting in there. There we go. I'm just gonna zip tie it out of the way now that it's sealed. Perfect. All right, so at this time we have the driver's side fully installed and it looks incredible. I'll take the protective plastic off after we put the bumper on, but as you can see, going from just this stock halogen, it just looks dreary and the light bulbs are terrible. It doesn't work all that well at night. So just by, with a very minimal cost as far as headlights are concerned, these are a complete game changer. But I'm not just gonna tell you, let me turn the lights on and I'll show you the low beams, the high beams, the daytime running, the turn signals, and we'll show you the drastic difference. Now keep in mind, in the USA, you typically have an amber bulb over for your turn signal and hazards. Carrie requested that we do clear. So we have a clear bulb in there. That's gonna be the only difference. That's really up to you to decide which color bulb, but let's test out the lights and see how they look. All right, so the first stage, I just put the angel eyes on, which are now your daytime running, and they are LED. Look how awesome that looks. Now on the other side, Carrie disabled his, but normally there's this dull, like yellowy looking light in the middle of your high beam. And it doesn't look very good, hence why he zip tied them underneath the bumper. But first step, amazing, complete game changer right there alone. All right, so here's a look at what your low beams now look like. Here's a look at your high beams. And then we'll give you some turn signal action. Okay, so as you can see, we have the passenger side installed and plugged in. And now what we're gonna do, we're gonna grab the bumper, we're gonna throw it on. As you can see over here, we have left this protective plastic on the light. It's always a good idea to do it, and it's also a good idea to install a bumper with 2 people, 1 on each side. We also put a piece of 3M painter's tape over here, just in case the bumper accidentally nicks the fender, especially on a wrapped car. You wanna do it anyway, but especially on a wrapped car, you don't wanna accidentally poke a hole. So we have that for protection. We're gonna put it on, we're gonna put a couple bolts up to secure it. Then we're going to make sure that all of the underbody protection is up and out of the way. Make sure that everything is fitting the way that we want to. And then from there, we can tighten everything down, put the bumper back on, and we'll show you the end result. Now, a couple tips for when you're putting your bumper back on. If you look over here, you will notice that you have to put the bumper down and then you can slide it in to these little clips right there. Additionally, you will want to line up the screw head with the imprint that it left in your bumper. So as you can see, if you look right here, you can see that there's white paint from the white paint under the wrap, and you can see exactly where that was. So when you position it that way, you're gonna get it as close as possible as it was. The other thing I wanna note is under the headlight, there are these little spikes, for lack of a better term. The bumper goes over the spikes, slides in like that, and then over here you have the 2 alignment pins. You're gonna push those up, put your screws in there. I'm gonna go put them over here, put them over there, and then I'll worry about the bottom after that. But as far as fitment of the actual lights is concerned, everything looks and fits great. I don't think we're really gonna have to do much adjusting, but yeah, really excited to get this job done because this is gonna look amazing. All right, at this time, we're gonna put everything back in the reverse order that it was removed.
See, the car is back together. What do you think? Initial thoughts here?
Dude, they look amazing.
I can't believe the difference. I mean, they're not even lit up and they look so perfect.
Oh, it's so nice.
Yeah.
Clean and bright.
It's everything my car was missing.
Yeah. Well, wait, there's more.
Yeah, please tell me what I'm waiting for.
Okay.
Oh my God.
So these are the daytime running lights. They're LED, and instead of that nasty little yellow bulb, you have these amazing looking angel eyes. And the guy behind you on the Atlantic City Expressway is going to know what's coming behind him.
Man, they just complete the car so much. I can't thank you enough.
No problem. So these are your low beams, and I'll blind you with your high beams here. And then per your request, we did put in the white bulbs.
Yeah, no yellow.
Yeah, no more yellow.
They look perfect. I can't thank you enough.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for coming in. Once again, this is Bryan. Thanks for watching Carrie. Once again, this is Bryan and this is Carrie. Thanks so much for watching Kies Motorsports. If you are interested in a set of Depo lights for your car, be sure to see the links in the description, where we'll also have links to KG Splitters and Carrie's page. Carrie, thanks again for coming. Good to have you, and enjoy your new lights.
Hey, thanks for having me.